All right, folks, good morning. Let's get started. So for today, uh, last day of May 31st, Friday, we have the following. So we at 8:30 a.m. we had core PCE index month over month, which came in less than expected at 0.2%, which I believe should be good for the market, if I remember correctly. Yeah, price of goods, right? So um, price of goods slightly less than expected, which is a big deal these days. That gives the impression that inflation is slowing down. So that's a well, it's technically a negative because now I think about it, because if inflation is slowing down, well, technically I guess it's a good thing. Now I think about it again, because that does give the if inflation slowing down, that gives the Fed incentive to lower interest rates. So that's a good thing. So yes, that the market response makes sense. Personal income month over month came in as expected, and personal spending month over month came in weaker than expected. So um, at 9:45 a.m., we're going to have Chicago PMI, and that's a moderately important report. Then after that, the only other report today comes out after market close at 6:15 p.m. when FOMC member Bostic speaks. So nothing that we have to be concerned about. So looking at the QQQ ETF, currently going up, which is the response that we would expect, as this is news that does tend to favor lowering of interest rates. As you can see here, the QQQ is going up. It's above yesterday's close and moving up relatively rapidly. Yesterday's action was mostly bearish. We started up here, ended down there, just to give a context. Volume was still fairly low yesterday, but higher than it had been in the previous few days when we were going up or neutral. Having said that, let's take a look at stocks which were moving during yesterday's session, the bullish stocks and bearish stocks. So first of all, we have eBay. Let's look at that one first. eBay was bullish, able to reach target number 2 to the upside of 53.10, and then it topped out at approximately 53.64. Next up is Rivian, able to reach target number 2 to the upside of 10.99 and topped out at 11.23, well above that. We only caught the ride from target number 1 to target number 2. Tesla was bullish. It was able to reach its target number 1 to the upside of 182.10. Topped out at 182.67, then reversed and sold off. Let's see what's next. Let's see. Google was bearish, able to reach target number 1 to the downside of 173.43, and then it went almost to target number 2 to the downside. I got within a very small distance from target number 2 to the downside, which was 171.65, but it bottomed out slightly above that. Overall, decent move. CrowdStrike was very bearish. This was able to trade well below our target number 2 to the downside of 330.06 and went down to a low of 314.13, which was just about a 10% down, at which point the Reg SHO rule kicked in, which makes it harder for the stock to be, well, basically takes away the ability of short sellers to really push the stock down. And the stock immediately bounced up, and that rule will still be in play today, which means that CrowdStrike is more likely to have a bullish inclination today as a result. And next up and last, we have Microsoft, which was able to reach its target number 2 to the downside of 417.83 very rapidly after we discovered it. And then it went a lot lower after that, traded down to below 415 a share. Pretty bearish. All right, so having said that, let's take a look at the pre-market, see what we got. All right, I only see a handful of stocks, so let me go through them right now. First up, I see ADAP, which is currently up about 21% on 5 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share, so that definitely qualifies for all of our criteria. I'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market radar as well. ADAP is the symbol. Next up is CISS, which is presently up 14% on 6 million shares, and it is over $1 per share. We will add CISS to the pre-market radar as well. Next up, we have SMMT. That is presently down 25.46% after a pretty big spike at the end of yesterday's session. So for the most part, it's higher than where it was for the most part of yesterday, but it did close up pretty high. So it's down 25%, 1.8 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So we will add Summit SMMT to our pre-market radar as well. All right, folks, if you see any other stocks that meet our 4 criteria, let me know in the chat. We're looking for a NASDAQ listed stock only that has achieved at least a 1 million shares of pre-market volume, at least a 6% price change, positive or negative, and in the pre-market. And also, the current price must be at least $1 per share. All right, so we have CIS, ADAP already, BNOX. Let's check that one out. So Jen mentioned BNOX, which currently is up 11.35%, right? 2.3 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. Excellent. That qualifies for all of our criteria. It's a NASDAQ stock as well. So we'll add BNOX to the pre-market watch list. SPRC is also mentioned. Let's take a look at that. That is presently up 7.62%. Yep, on 1.3 million shares, at least $1 per share. That does qualify as well. So we'll add SPRC to the pre-market watch list, and we already have Summit SMMT. So here are the symbols that I have so far. Only 5 symbols in total. Thank you, Jen, for your finds. If you guys see any other stocks that meet our 4 criteria for the pre-market watch list, please let me know in the chat. We'll take a look. Again, we're looking for NASDAQ listed stocks only, at least a 6% price change, positive or negative, as of right now in the pre-market. In the pre-market, at least 1 million shares of volume, and at least a price point of $1 per share. XHG, okay, let's take a look at that. All right, that's up 75% on 13.6 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share, so that definitely meets all of the criteria. So we'll add that stock to our pre-market radar, XHG. All right. And we'll wrap up here in about 30 seconds. So if you folks see any other stocks meeting all of our criteria, let me know in the chat. We'll go ahead and take a look. We're looking again for a NASDAQ listed stock that is has achieved at least a 6% price change, positive or negative, in this pre-market session. It also must be at least a $1 per share in a pre-market session and at least 1 million shares of volume. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up for this morning. Folks, please be sure to like this video. We got 15 likes, but more than 15 people watching, so please make sure to hit the like button. Also, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you get notifications. Both greatly help us with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if anyone's watching this video on a replay after this live broadcast, if you're not familiar with our company, check out fundertrading.com, our website. There is a link in the description of this video. Other than that, for everyone else, I'll see you in the coaching room in about 27 minutes, and we'll pick up from there. Otherwise, folks, have a great weekend. Have a great trading day. I'll see you for Monday's Premarket Pulse. Take care.